All right, so here I'm going to answer the Quora question. Why is Quora so left leaning? Everything is anti Trump and anti conservative. Every question ever answered always gives accolades to Democrats, like they walk on water. Why? Oh no. Well, first of all, that is not even true. You can find plenty of right wing goofballs on Quora, just as they will flood into any social media space they can get their hands on and ruin with disinformation and misinformation. To be fair, liberals and leftists can be dishonest and annoying as well, but usually they at least have some basic grip on reality with their talking points, even if they can sometimes go astray. If you don't believe there is a right wing presence on Quora, Facebook, or Twitter, I guess maybe you have never used these platforms. Really, though, that view is no doubt another sign of the right wing persecution complex and falsely presents the image of conservatives never engaging in censorship themselves. They increasingly want to ban anything LGBT outright, which is even a little beyond mere censorship, by the way, and actually more genocidal in scope. So it's possible that to some extent, when right wingers whine about liberals not letting them speak, it doubles as a form of projection. We know plenty of right wingers want to restrict the freedoms of whatever groups they do not like. That's why they go after drag shows now, give bomb threats to a children's hospital, over providing elements of trans conscious care. They want to ban books from schools and libraries they consider offensive, and even want to block women from traveling to other states for abortions. Definitely some freedom loving conservatives on that point, right? Also, when MAGA people say the left is so corrupt, they have no principles at all, etc., note the irony that it's coming from people who backed Donald Trump, one of the most corrupt, nepotism heavy politicians we have ever seen. And how about that George Santos guy, who almost never seems capable of telling the truth about anything, ever? In fact, it is basically also a lie that Quora is such a haven for liberals and leftists. But why would they say such a thing? Well, it's the same reason they call certain Republicans rhinos. If you criticize the neo fascist theocratic nature of the MAGA movement and are concerned about groups they don't like, or believe in social welfare rather than letting all government be a corporate giveaway, you are immediately suspected of being on the far left, the spooky far left. Therefore, they can easily convince themselves Quora is just a leftist platform to share liberal views with the world. And for those of you who might think I'm an asshole who's being unfair, I have given conservatives practically every chance to prove they are not what I think they are, but they almost seem hell bent on verifying every negative stereotype of themselves, at least when it comes to the prominent conservative leadership. For example, let's say I really want to believe Trump is not a fascist and has nothing Hitler like about him at all. Well, okay then. But why did Trump have Thanksgiving dinner with two Hitler loving Holocaust deniers, Nick Fuentes and Kanye Ye West? Yes, that was a former president of the United States having dinner with someone who is only famous for being a fascist in the case of Nick Fuentes, and someone else, Ye, which is a dumb name, by the way. But anyway, Ye, who more recently outed himself in a very public way as being a Nazi lover. So, ideally, Quora and the internet overall could be such a good thing, and sometimes is still even good, alright? But not all the time. Theoretically, it could foster an environment where everyone wants to help and everyone wants to participate. However, Republicans and the far right, for whatever reason, keep wanting to sabotage that potential. Well, some people will notice that and not like it. When you or I post online, it's not like everyone will like us, no matter how strange, offensive, or odd our posts are. You will lose friends if you're not careful, in addition to those you'll lose for seemingly no reason at all. Similarly, you'll find not everyone wants to lend you a helping hand. Also, you'll find out the shocking truth from being online. Being an American patriot is meaningless and stupid. If you call yourself that, people who do that are a dime a dozen. You can find patriots everywhere and it means nothing. Quite often it means the person is stupid, in fact. It's like it really is that way. If you identify that way. Uh, so if you post a bunch of bizarre, hateful nonsense, some will find it sickening that Quora even allows you to post anything there. And yes, you can try to escape politics by only posting selfies and cat videos, but you'll get people who scoff at that too. I mean, seriously, who would post that kind of thing? You're gonna find those kind of comments. Basically, no matter what you are posting online, somebody's gonna have a problem with it, and that's just the way it is. The internet had the potential to make practically anyone and everyone smarter, but there are some who take what seems like a good idea and make it look like the worst idea in the world. Who does that? The problem is many people do that, if not the majority of people. As a modest example, shit tons of people will comment on an article without having read it. How many people did not even click to read the link, let alone read most of it or read like at least a summary? Obviously, that does not just describe conservatives, but it seems that anyone who thinks Quora is just a right wing space is that sort of person who really hasn't investigated it properly. In fact, you can find on Quora plenty of groups that are just for the MAGA crowd, and it is really like an echo chamber in those areas. I've been in them. There's a lot of people who go down a lot of crazy rabbit holes when it comes to right wing spaces on Quora. So basically, this is actually a lie. And you'll find so many lies like this all over the internet. Basically, the argument is if a place doesn't look like a right wing hellscape, it means there's a war on conservatism or something like that. Oh, and by the way, Elon Musk recently let Nick Fuentes back onto Twitter, which is just about the only type of free speech that Elon Musk is interested in having flourishing over on Twitter these days. So, congratulations, conservatives, your free speech paradise will end up making America into nothing but a right wing hellscape the more you have your way. Although I did hear that he was quickly rebanned, Nick Fuentes. So I don't know. Is it really just performative at this point for the muskrat? Like, is he really going to let everybody say anything, or is it really just going to be he's going to do it sometimes to generate some publicity or something? I don't know what he's thinking. I don't think he's figured anything out about how he wants to really run Twitter. But I will say one thing he could have done is he could have just added an edit feature and shut up. That would have been all he needed to do, and he could have really made Twitter better by just staying the hell away from it. He could have run it in terms of like, you know, having some tech updates and whatnot. But by him, taking all these dumb positions and um, trying to claim that it's going to be a free speech platform when obviously he isn't going to allow absolute free speech. Well, I think he's pissed everybody off in the process. Sure, you'll still have some people who are like Elon Musk super fans or whatever, but at the end of the day, I think he will end up losing some fans, and I think he already has. So basically, I went from talking about Quora to talking about Twitter, But I think you could find, some similar themes in any environment where there are plenty of conservatives. The further you go to the right, the more you're going to alienate people left, right, and center. That's really one of the main points here. And it's one of the reasons why, you'll find people in all kinds of hot water because it's really an outrage machine and there's no bottom to the barrel, I suppose you could say. There's no amount of lying that's too far. There's no amount of like hate speech that's too much. It's really going to be a test for how much further along we can go into this nightmare scenario. So that's all I have to say about this for now, and I've got another episode episode coming out shortly.